Now we'll discuss structured query language. So what SQL stands for? SQL, it stands for structured query language. It is developed by this language. By IBM. So this language is developed by IBM. It is recognized by ANSI and ISO. So this is meaning of SQL. So ANSI SQL stands for Structured Query Language. This language is developed by IBM. So National Business Machines IBM. It is a unified language for database management system. Language to database management system. A unified language for database management system. So this is about SQL, structured query language. Then what are the advantages? What are the advantages of SQL? So it's one high speed. Using SQL queries, user can quickly and efficiently retrieve the one is high speed now. So it's one is high speed. What is meant by high speed? Using SQL queries, using SQL queries, the user can quickly and efficiently retrieve large amount of quickly and efficiently retrieve quickly and efficiently retrieve a large amount amount of records from a database. So one is the first advantage of SQL, structured query language, it is a high-speed language. So what is meant by high-speed language? By using SQL, the user can quickly and efficiently retrieve large amount of records from the database at very high speed. It's a non-procedural language. Another is non-procedural language. So non-procedural means the programmer can specify what we require without specifying how to retrieve it, and there is no need to write the code. In this language, the programmer can specify what we required without specifying how to get. So in this language, there is no need to write the code. No need to write the code to retrieve the data from the database system. So the another advantage of SQL is there is no need to write the code for database management system. So it's a non-procedural language. Non-procedural means in this language, so the programmer can specify what we required without specifying how to get. So we have to simply specify what we required without specifying how to get. That's way. So it is a the non-procedural means so we can write, no need to write the code. We can specify what we required. It's enough. For example, to retrieve the suppose to set an information from a system, so it is necessary to write a program. For in the case of C language or C++, suppose we want to set a particular information, you have to write a code. To sort the information, you have to write a code. While in the case of procedural SQL, no need to write the code. You have to simply specify what we required. So without specifying how to do. That's why it is a. So that's why we see that it is a non-procedural language. Third one is well-defined standards. Third one is well-defined standards. So what are the well-defined standards? So this language is recognized by ANSI and ISO. So that's why we say that is a high standard law, well-defined standards. Then portability. Portability. Another advantage of SQL is portability. We know already know that what is portability. A program which is developed at one system, so it can be accessed by any system is called as portability. It is a unified language to retrieve the information from any database system. Unified language to retrieve information data from any database system. That's why we call it as a portability. Portability means a program which is developed at one system, so it will be run on any system is called as portability. So that's we called as portability. So these are the different advantages of SQL. So one is high speed language. So what is meant by high speed language? But means SQL. So it's very so we can retrieve the information very quickly. So and very efficiently. That's why we say that it's an efficient language, high speed language. Non-procedural. It is a non-procedural language. Non-procedural means you do no need to write the code to perform any operation. That's why we say that a non-procedural language. Then well-defined standards. What is well-defined standard? This language is recognized by an ANSI and ISO. This is called as well-defined standards. Another is portability. So what is portability? A program which is developed at one system, it will be run on any system, is called as portability. These are the advantages of SQL. So what are the different features? We say that same as same actually. So this no need actually. Now we'll go for data types. First, so these are the advantages. What is SQL? SQL stands for structured query language. So what is structured query language? So structured query language means so what is structured? It is this language. It's a unified language for to retrieve the data from the database management system. So it is recognized by ANSI. It is a unified database system. That's why there are the four advantages of database SQL. One is called as high-speed language. That means we can retrieve the information from the database very quickly and very efficiently. Second one is non-procedural language. In non-procedural language, you have to write the code. In non-procedural language, you have to write the code what we require. So no need to write the program. So you have to simply specify what we required without how specifying how to get. That's what called as non-procedural language. Third one is well-defined standards. So what is well-defined standards? So what are the well-defined standards means? So with this language is recognized by ANSI and so this one. Next we go for data types. What are the different data types that are defined in SQL? So one is called as numeric data type. The first data type is the number data type. So this data type, the number data type is used. The number we call as scale, comma, precision. This data type is used to store both integers and floating point numbers. So this data type is used to store both integers and floating point data. So to store integers, the programmer can specify scale only. To store floating point numbers, the programmer can specify both integers as well as scale and precision. To store integers, the programmer can specify scale only. To store floating point numbers, a programmer can specify scale and so this is the one data type, number data type. Number data type is used to store numeric values. That means both it allows to store both integers as well as floating point numbers. To store both integers and floating point numbers, we use number data type. So the syntax of this data type is number. So for number, we can use number, scale as well as precision. Suppose we want to store only integers, the programmer can specify scale only. To store integers as well as floating point, to store floating point numbers, the programmer can specify precision or precision can also. So this is one data type by number. Another is called as char. Another data type is char. This data type is used to store. This data type is used to store characters. It is a pixel length character data. So another data type is char. So char is a character data. So what is character data type? The character data type is used to store the characters. To store the characters, we use character data type. So this character data type is called as pixel length characters. So it is a pixel length character data. For each character, the system will allocate 1 byte. It allows the maximum of 256 characters. For each character, the system will allocate 1 byte. It allows the maximum of 256. So maximum of 256 characters. So it allows maximum of 256 bytes. So it has 21 bytes. Maximum of 21 bytes. It allows maximum of 21 bytes. It allows maximum of 256 bytes. So that's we call as character data. Another is varchar. Variable length character data. Varchar we say that variable length character data. Right? It allows to store maximum of 2000 characters. So varchar means variable length characters. So we have the two types of character data types. One is character char, another is varchar. So a character data type will allows maximum of 256 characters, while where char 2 will allows maximum of 2000 characters. What is the difference of fixed length and variable length? In the case of fixed length characters, the system will allocate the fixed size. For example, if you say name of 20, so for each name the system will allocate 20 bytes. Or how many number of characters? What are the number of characters? However, so the system will allocate maximum 2 or 20 bytes. While in the case of varchar 2, the system will allocate maximum of 2000 characters, variable length. So it means the length is different. That's why we call it as variable length character. The length is different. That's why we say that it's a variable length character. Date. This data type is used to store dates. Allocate maximum of 7 bytes. Allocates 7 bytes. So for 7 bytes of data, we use this date data. Maximum 7 bytes of 7 bytes. So to store date, we use date data. Another is long. This data type is also used characters. This data type is used to store characters. It allows maximum of variable length or maximum of 2 GB. Allows it is not a case sensitive language. You can write either uppercase or small letters, no problem. So it is not a case sensitive language. So that's why you can write small letters, capital letters, or both the combination, no need. So because like C language is not case sensitive. So it's not a case sensitive. So it's not a case sensitive means you can write the program in either uppercase or lowercase or combination, no problem. So this data type is used to store characters. So it allows maximum of 2 GB. So it allows the maximum of 2 GB. Another is raw. Raw. So this data type is used to store binary information. So these are the different data types that are allowed in SQL. So what are the different data types that are allowed in SQL is number data type. So what is number data type? A number data type is used to store integers as well as floating point numbers. So the syntax is number, scale, comma, precision. If you define scale only, so it allows to store only integers. If you define scale and precision, it allows to store both integers as well as floating point numbers. So that's one is number data. Another is char. So char data type is used to store characters, only to store characters. It is a fixed length characters. Fixed length means if you define a char name of 20, it allows to store maximum of 20 characters. For each variable, it stores the 20 bytes. While in the case of varchar2, it allows to store, it is a variable length characters. Variable length characters means depends upon date. Date data type is used to store date only, maximum 7 bytes. While long data type is also used to store the characters, it allows maximum of 2 GB characters. So raw data type is used to store so raw binary information. These are the different data types that are available in SQL. Next we go for SQL commands. The statements in SQL is three types. Your DDL commands, EML commands, ECL commands. So the statements in SQL is classified into three types: DDL, DML, and DCL. DDL indicates data definition language. DML data manipulation language. DCL is the data control language. DDL, DML, and DCL. So what is DDL commands? What is DDL statements? So we'll call as DDL statements or DML statements. DDL statements. DDL statements. These statements are used these statements are used to create, alter, and drop database objects such as tables, sequences, views, sequences. So we have the DDL commands. So DDL commands are used to create, alter, and drop. Create, alter, and drop data. Create, alter, and drop database objects. We can create, alter, and drop database objects. So what are the database objects? Tables, views, and sequences. To create a table or to create a view or to create a sequences like this, to create a trigger, anything. So trigger also to create triggers. So all these we called as data DDL commands. So first we'll go for creation of a table. How to create a table? First we go for how to create a table. Very good. So DDL means data definition logs. DML means data manipulation, data control logs. Statements in SQL is classified into DDL, DML, DCL. DDL means data definition logs. DDL commands, DML commands, DCL commands are DDL statements. Data definition language. A data definition language is used to create, alter, and drop database objects. Database objects means say there may be a table, view, sequence, or anything. So that's we call as database objects. How to create a table? So what is the syntax to create a table? The statement create table is used to create the table object. The table. The syntax of సో మనము టేబుల్ ని క్రియేట్ చేయడానికి మనం ఏం చేస్తాము అంటే క్రియేట్ టేబుల్ అనే కమాండ్ ఉపయోగిస్తాం. ద స్టేట్మెంట్ క్రియేట్ టేబుల్ ఈస్ యూజ్డ్ టు క్రియేట్ ద టేబుల్స్. సో వాట్ ఇస్ ద సింటాక్స్ ఆఫ్ క్రియేట్ టేబుల్? సో క్రియేట్ టేబుల్, టేబుల్ నేమ్, create table, table name. So this is the syntax. Create a table, table name. Then we can column name, data type, size, column name, data type, size. So then if need, constraint name, constraint name, సో టేబుల్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది, ఏ విధంగా సింటాక్స్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది అంటే క్రియేట్ టేబుల్, టేబుల్ నేమ్, కాలమ్ 1, column 1, data type, size. So constraint name and constraint type is optional. So we discuss later. Column 2, again we write the same syntax. Column 2, constraint 1. So constraint 2, column 3. So like this we can write. This is the syntax of so DDL statement. Create a table. So this is the syntax of create a table. Create a table, table name. How to write the syntax? Create a table, table name. So then column 1, data type, size. After that, you have to write constraint name and the constraint type. If required, I will discuss later. So what is constraint? How to write the constraints? What is the importance of the constraint? Then column 2, data type, size, constraint name and the constraint type. Column 3, data type, size. Similarly, like this, we can write the any number of columns. Finally, we put the semicolon. So this is the syntax of create a table. So we take one example. For example, suppose this is the table student, student ID, student name, suppose marks. Suppose this is the table. How to create such a table? Suppose this is my table. Student ID, student name and marks. So we know that student ID is a number, name is character, marks is also number. So how to create a table for this? So this is the general format. Student is the name of the table. This student table will contain 3 columns: student ID, student name and marks. How to create a table for this? So first I will create the tables without constraints. Later I will discuss, later I will tell how to create the tables with constraints. So it is necessary to know the constraints also. So later after that I will tell you how to create the tables with constraints. So create table, table name is student. Create table, table name is student. What are the columns? Student ID. So column name, data type. What is the type? Number type. Number. So how many digits? Suppose I want 5 digits. 5, comma. S name, varchar 2 of 30. So it allows the maximum of 30 characters, comma. So marks, number 3. So marks is the number data type 3. So this is the way to create the tables. So this is the syntax to create the tables. Create table, table name. Table name is the student. Create. No need of syntax. All is the small letters or capital letters or combination, no problem. Because it is not a case sensitive language. That's right. So here, so create a table. Table name is the student. Student ID is the number type of 5 characters. Student name, varchar 2 of 30 characters. Character data type, it allows the maximum of 30 characters. Marks is another data type, number type which contains maximum of 3 digits. Suppose we go for another example. Example 2. Employee, for example. Employee number, employee name, employee number, employee name, job, job, employee number, employee name, job, MGR, manager number. We say that MGR, manager number, hire date, salary, commission, department number. How to create a table? So this is my table. Employee is my table. This table has the columns: employee number, employee name, job, MGR, manager number, hire date, salary, commission, and department number. So how to create a table for this? Create table. Table name is employee. Create table. Table name is employee. So what are the columns? Employee number. So what type it is? Number type, number. So how many digits? Suppose I will take 5 digits, 5. Okay. employee name, e-name, varchar 2, variable length characters, varchar 2, maximum of 30 characters, comma, job, varchar 2 of 10 characters. Job means clerk, queue, attender. So like this job. MGR. MGR is the manager number. MGR number 5. Hire date. The date data type. Hire date. So hire date is the date data type. Hire date. So is the date data type. So commission. Number. So 7 comma 2. Similarly, and then means total means our scale is the 7 2-digit expression, and department number type of 3 digits. This is the way to create the tables. So what are the columns? Based on the columns, we can create a table. So this is the way to create a table. Create table, table name. So we have to write create table, table name. So create table, table name with columns. What are the different columns? Depends upon the example. For example, if you go for another example, suppose department table. They will give the columns. Based on the columns, you have to create the tables. Department, for example, department table, department number, department name, location. For example, these are the 3 columns. How to create a table? So create a table, department, create a table, department. We have the columns, department number of 3, and department name varchar 2 of 10, and location varchar 2 of is the way to create the tables. Depends upon the requirements. We can create the tables. For example, similarly, last time in relational algebra, we have discussed some type of tables. For example, Sailors, ID, sailor name, rating, age. So this is my table. How to create a table? So create a table, sailors, create a table, sailors. So you have to create the sailor's ID, number type 3, sailor's name, varchar 2 of 30 or 20 characters, rating, number of 2 digits, and age number of 3. This is the way to create the tables. Depends on the requirements. So depends upon our requirements, we can create the tables. This is about so DDL, data definition language. So this is the syntax to create a table. First of all, in the basic is how to create a tables. So this is the way to create a table without constraints. Later, after that, I will explain the constraint type and how to create the constraints also. The table with constraints also. So this is the way to create a tables without constraints. We already know that the advantage of constraints. The advantage of constraints is to make the data is correct. So to make the data is correct, we can use the constraints. This is the one advantage of DBMS. Is already discussed in Unit 1. So in Unit 1, we are discussing the advantage of DBMS, where we specified So we maintain good quality of data. The data in the database must be so correct. So how do we make the data in correct? How to create such a data correct data? So in order to make the data correct in the database management system, we can use constraints. Otherwise, we can get the incorrect data. For example, if I create a table without constraints, there are so many problems during the data insertion. For example, if I give the SID, student ID, suppose student ID, if I give the same number 2 times, the system will accept. If you are not mentioned the constraint, if you are not mentioned the constraint, so if I give the 2 times of the same number, the system will accept the number. So actually, no students have same numbers. So then the data is incorrect data. Similarly, if you are each and every student has a name, suppose if you are not given the name, the system will also accept the data. So it is not correct. Suppose marks is 3. So if you give the marks, suppose if I give minus 45, the system will accept. If I give 900, the system will also accept. But then in our case, the marks is 0 to 0 to 100, 100 only. If I give the more than 100, the system will accept. Actually, it's not correct. If I give minus 45, the system will also accept. So actually, creation of a table without constraints. Suppose if we create a tables without constraints, we cannot create a good quality of data. So for that purpose, actually this is the basic syntax. First I will go for basic syntax. After that I will create how to but by using this basic syntax, we can maintain incorrect data. The data in the database is incorrect. So it is not a right way to create the tables. That's why. So it is always you have to create a tables with constraints. When you create a tables with constraints, then we can maintain very good quality of data. So from the beginning onwards, you have to create a tables with constraints. So don't create the tables without constraints at any time. So if you create a tables without constraints, then we can maintain incorrect. The system will contains correct system contains invalid data, not invalid, incorrect data. So it's not correct. For example, if we take for student ID, if I give the same student ID for 2 numbers, the system will accept it. Actually, really, there is no student, no 2 students have the same numbers. If I have not given the name, the system will also accept it. If marks, if I give more than 100 marks, the system will also accept it. If I give the negative marks, the system can also accept it. But it is not right way. So, however, this is the basic syntax to create the tables. Later we discuss how to create a tables with constraints. Actually, so it is necessary to create the tables with constraints. Okay, this is the way, this is the first class regarding the SQL, which is very important. This is also for labs also. So for lab purpose also it is required. So students can note down each and every class, or after completion of this class, you have to watch YouTube and prepare notes, because so this belongs to both theory as well as lab also. So in labs also we are creating the same system. That's why how to create both the ways. Okay. So this is about constraints in SQL. Okay. We continue tomorrow.